All right, let us look at so what they want us to do here. They want for us, um, they want for us to create six circles. So I'm going to show you how to create shapes in Photoshop. So when we go over to Photoshop here, if you look over the toolbar section, down at the bottom here, where you see rectangle, rounded rectangle, ellipse, polygon, line, custom shape tool. So this is where your shape tool is. And it allows you to choose different. So if I want to create rectangles, I choose rectangle. But in this case, I want to create a elliptical shape. So I click on ellipse. Now, you see this bar up at the top here? It provides you with specific properties for that tool. So right now I'm on the ellipse tool. And let's say, for example, if I click on the text tool, sorry, the machine freeze. Right, if I click on the text tool, notice that the information about the text tool appears up here. So for example, the size, the type of font. If I click on the eraser tool, it brings up the different properties for the eraser. Move tool, it brings up the properties for the move tool, the marquee selection, lasso selection, crop tool. So each of these tools to the left, whenever you click on them, the properties are displayed at the top here. So let's go back to the shape tool, the circle tool here. If you click over here, you will see something that says, when you click on shape, you see something that says path, pixels, and shape. We want it to stay on shape. Also, you will notice that you say fill. So right now the fill color is set to black. Also, when you look at the bottom of the screen here, let me go to the notes and show you something. Trying to best to teach this. All right, look at because it's very important to understand what the tools are. You see, where it says foreground color, the little black square, that is for your foreground color. You see the white square below, that is your background color. You see, whenever you're changing your color, you click on the little black box and it allows you to change your foreground color. So if I go back to Photoshop and I click on the black box, it brings up the color picker and you can choose different colors. You have your color picker, you can choose the blue, or your green. And notice here you're seeing information, HSV, hue, saturation. This one, I don't remember, this one is probably balance. Then you have your RGB, you have different your CMYK percentages. So basically, notice that when I start to click around in the color picker, you start to see the values change. So we're starting to see our RGB colors mix. If you were to click OK, that is how you would set the foreground color. But also notice that I'm still on the shape tool, and notice that you see in the fill color up here is green. What I'm going to do, I want to get this red color here. But in order to get this red color, what I could do, I could simply click on the foreground color and try and mix that color to be red. However, it won't be the accurate shade of red. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save, you see this image here that I have on Moodle, I'm going to download this image. save this image as, and I'm going to import it into Photoshop. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to sample the color. So to import an image into Photoshop, you go File, then you go Place. It's not import. You click on Place, and I'm going to import the image into Photoshop. So you click on Circle here. I download the image. And I click on Place. And what that does is that it places the image. And what happens, you see a transform box appear around the image. So if I want to shrink it more, I can hold down Shift and drag it into shrink it. I want to move it over here. Also notice over here to the right hand corner of your screen is where you have your layers. Whenever you open up a blank canvas in Photoshop, it gives you one layer, which is the background layer, which is white. But because I just add a layer called circles, it creates a second layer here. Now to confirm the transform of this, I press enter. And we see that we have the image imported into Photoshop. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sample, you see, I'm going to zoom in. Control and plus to zoom in. And what I want to do, I want to sample this red color. So if I open up the foreground color, once I hover the mouse, you notice that a dropper appears here. When I move the mouse over here, it gives me the option to choose a color. Notice that I have the color picker open. But when I move the mouse over and hover it over here and click, what happens is that it samples that exact shade of red. So instead of me trying to guess what color it is, I can open up the foreground color picker and hover over the image that I want, the color that I want to sample, click on it and click OK. So right now I have the red color, that's the exact shade of red. So I didn't guess this. So that's the exact shade of red that we want. Control minus to zoom out, control and plus to zoom in. All right, I'm going to now I'm going to hold down Shift and draw the first circle. There's the first circle right there. Notice that when I use the mouse to draw this first circle, notice you're seeing a new layer created. So this layer is what you call a shape layer, and it's called ellipse. I'm going to rename this layer red circle, or red circle. You double click on the name right here and you press enter, and that is renamed to red circle. Now, how do I go about moving this red circle? Ensure you see this button at the top here with the arrow and the what do you call it? You click on the top button here, which is the move tool, and you simply click and move it around. So that is how you move. However, this is how it works. You see over here in your layers, you have to choose the layer that you want. So for example, the red circle is on the red circle layer. And notice that the circles layer, if I click on this layer, notice I'm still on my move tool. I can move the image of the circles around. So basically, you choose the layer that you want, and because what happens is that even if I hover the mouse over the circles here, the fact that the circles layer is not selected, I cannot interact with that layer. I'd have to click on the circles layer and then move it. I want to click on the red circle. I have to click on the red circle, and then you're able to move that red circle. I'm going to create a new circle. So I click back on the shape tool. I'm going to hold down shift, because if you hold down the mouse, what happens is that it creates an elliptical shape like this. If you want to create a perfect circle, you have to hold down shift and click and drag, and that will create the perfect circle.